to The Cosmic Entrepreneur, the podcast where mystical wisdom meets the world of entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Christine, and I'm honoured to be your guide on this cosmic journey of self-discovery and business success. Each month, we'll explore the fascinating realms of spirituality, energy healing, astrology, Akashic records, many other esoteric practices, and multidimensional aspects of entrepreneurship. Through open conversations, shared experiences, and practical insights, my intention is to empower you to integrate these profound teachings into your personal and professional life, helping you manifest abundance, align to your highest timeline, and make a difference in the world. Whether you are an inspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply curious about the intersection of spirituality and success, this podcast is here to enlighten, empower, and elevate you. Hello and welcome to the Cosmic Entrepreneur podcast. So today we have amazing Ciara. She's a mom of three, and she's a founder and CEO of Mariposa Holistic Wellness, which is based in Dublin. She's a Reiki Master, a Rahanni Healer, an IET practitioner, and a Feng Shui expert. So you are a lot of things. You're like a jack of all trades.
A lot of things rolled into one.
Yeah, so I'm so delighted that you're here with us today. And I just wanted to really ask about your journey. So when did it all start? How did you dip into spirituality? Just shoot away.
Yeah, okay. Well, so I always remember as a little girl, I've always had a fascination with angels. I've never been particularly religious, but religion and spirituality are two separate things, aren't they? But I always remember as a little girl, like my mum used to, every night we do the angel prayer, the guardian angel prayer together. And I just always had that connection to the angels. And I've always kind of really just had like really good intuition. Like I remember as a kid, just like I'd always know if there was something up with my friends, or like if they weren't telling the truth about something. I just always had that gut instinct. Obviously, I didn't know what it was, so then it didn't really do that. And when I went, I was a wild teenager, wild as wild can be. My poor mother. But yeah, my teenage years and my early 20s were just like partying. I was out all the time. Loads of drinking and all sorts. And I think when you live that kind of lifestyle, you just become totally disconnected, don't you? So when I was in my mid-20s, I remember, and even when I talk about this all the time because it's so vivid. I remember it so clearly. So I was about 25, I think, at the time. So almost 20 years ago now. And I was going through a really tough time. I was in a relationship and I knew it was going to come to an end, and I was battling with the idea of leaving, and all this was going on, and nobody knew about it. I hadn't said anything to anybody, so I was really kind of battling with it internally. But one night I had this dream, and Archangel Michael appeared to me. Now, I had never had a dream like this before. I had never had an experience like this before. It was all so new to me, but it was so vivid. I can remember it. It was nearly 20 years ago, and I remember it as if it was yesterday. But he came to me, he put his big, massive wings out. He told me who he was. He told me that, it wasn't time to leave the relationship, that he'd be with me. He'd let me know. I'd know when it was time to leave, and that he was my guide. He was going to be my guide on my healing journey, and he'd be with me all through my lifetime. And I remember I woke up and it was the most profound thing that's ever really happened to me. I've had more crazy stuff happen in the latter years, but that was the first big experience I ever had. And I remember like telling my mum about it and all. She probably thought it was crazy. But I just went angel mad then. I remember I went and bought like angel books and angel cards, and I ended up now, the relationship did end a couple of years later. And then I went on to meet my now husband. But I just remember that kind of started everything off for me. And I got really, really engrossed with all things angels, I remember. But it wasn't until a few years later, I think it was about 29, when I found integrated energy therapy, which is a form of angelic healing. And that was the first training I ever did in energy work. And that kind of opened everything up for me when I trained in integrated energy therapy. So that was kind of the beginning of my journey. I suppose, back to my spirituality or into my spirituality. And then a few years later, I always had an interest in Reiki. I remember I had my first Reiki session in my early 20s. Nobody even knew what Reiki was. I remember looking to go for Reiki. There was like 2 people in the whole of Dublin that done Reiki, like, and now everyone does it. But I always had that connection to Reiki. I always really enjoyed Reiki. So I trained in Reiki a few years later, and it was in and around the time that my husband and I were trying for a baby. We kind of knew there was issues there, and that we would most likely need to go down the IVF route. So it was kind of in and around the time we started IVF that I began to train in Reiki. And obviously then we had a very long IVF journey. To have our children. So that our IVF, God, we had like 7 rounds of IVF to have my first daughter, and then we had our twins. But I was training in Reiki in the midst of all our IVF struggle. And when we had our 6th fail of IVF, I was in a really bad place. And, I remember I was like, oh, I've had angels, you're not helping me. And I was so annoyed with them. I was like, why are you not helping me? And I just kind of was fed up with everything. And I just had this feeling I just wanted to turn my back on everything, not understanding now. Now I understand that I had to go through that for a reason. At the time, you don't think that way because you're just going through this really horrible experience. And I remember just saying, right, I need to take a year off. I'm taking a year off from IVF. I really need to work on my mindset. And that's when a friend of mine, she is an amazing card reader. I was chatting to her and she's like, I really feel you need to look into Feng Shui. And she gave me the name of this lady who does Feng Shui. And I had heard of it before. I didn't know too much about it. And I said, okay, when I looked into it, it just really resonated with me. It was like, how did I not know about this before? And I became engrossed in it. This is in the year off that I took during my IVF struggle. And obviously Feng Shui is highly linked with manifestation. So it kind of opened up the whole world of manifestation to me, the law of attraction, law of abundance. And I kind of get engrossed with things when I find something that really resonates, I want it all and I want it all now. So I remember we done the intentional Feng Shui with Patricia Lohan. I was following her and doing a few bits with her, and just a few little changes that we made. It was like, oh my God, I remember we looked at my wealth and prosperity area, and a couple of days later, my husband came home and said he was after getting a bonus, an unexpected bonus, and it was like the money we were short for our next round of IVF. And I was like, oh my God, there's something really in this Feng Shui. So I actually looked to get to hire like a Feng Shui consultant to come out and like properly Feng Shui the house. This isn't the house I'm living in now, it's my old house. And they're really expensive. So I was thinking, okay, well, why don't I just train in it myself and then become a Feng Shui consultant myself, not to work as it, but just to be able to do it myself. And then I was thinking I could do it for family and friends and stuff. And so that's what I done. So I trained with the amazing Amanda Collins in Feng Shui. And that just continued on my road. And, I've always wanted to do it. I was doing my Reiki, in the background and stuff. And, just when I done the Feng Shui, everything changed. My whole mindset changed. And then we shortly went and had our 7th IVF round. And from all the work I had done from taking that year off, we went on to have our first successful IVF. I have my little daughter, Ava. And then when she was 16 months, we had another transfer and had our twins. But I just really got engrossed back into everything then. And, when the kids were a little bit older, my twins are 4 now, Ava's nearly 6. I was like, okay, I need to now, put more time into building up my business. And I knew that was my, the universe is always dragging me to do that full time, but I was working. I was in a training and education job for 21 years. So I was kind of doing my Reiki stuff on the side, but my heart knew, I knew in my gut that that's the universe wanted me. That was what I was brought here to do. So I made the decision a couple of years ago to kind of leave my full-time job and just do this work full-time. It took me like about 3 years to leave, but I finally left. I left last September and been going from strength to strength. So that's kind of how I got here.
That's, oh my God, like I love it. It's such an amazing like journey to see you go. Like it must have been just so tough. I can't even imagine just trying for so many years and going through such like heartache over and over again. And then you're like, right, I just really need to work on my mindset. And within that year, you just grew so much and you got so much help, like with a Feng Shui and stuff. So this is why I'm like, I just love your story because you're so passionate about everything you do. You're so passionate about the angels, the Reiki, and even just boosting your energy is just so loving. I met you
Mhm.
couple of years ago in when we did Magnified Healing course back in Dublin. I remember just sitting
Yes.
there and it was like, oh my God, the energy just hit you. And it was just like angelic. Yeah. So
Oh,
I
I
was like,
love that. And you know what? That's a Christine. I think, and I say this to my clients all the time, like my clients be saying, well, like, how do I know what my soul's purpose is? And I think whatever brings you that passion and that joy, like when I speak about my healing work and, the retreats I run, the wellness retreats and all my courses and workshops, and I teach Reiki and everything as well. I'm so passionate about it. Um, it just brings me so much joy. And I say, that's how I know I know it's my soul's purpose anyway. I've done lots of soul work, but I say that to my clients all the time. Do what brings you so much joy and so much passion. Like we shouldn't be in a job that you're getting up and like I never get up to do this work and go, oh, I have to go now and see 3 clients, or I have to go now and run a wellness retreat. It's like I jump at, like it brings me so much joy, and that's when you know it's your soul's purpose, when you get that passion from it. And yeah, it's just I think when you're
yeah,
passionate about something, it doesn't become a job then, doesn't it? Not. It's just
yeah, 100%. If it's something you're passionate about and you can really feel the energy off you when you talk about all the modalities that you're like, oh, I just like you're so passionate. And the amount of like, say, courses, like I've done your Feng Shui and even your online circles, like everything that you give from the heart and you can feel it. Like, you really feel
oh
it in your energy. Yeah. So like there's so many modalities that you've trained up. So maybe could you differentiate for people who are like, okay, what is IT? Like, what is IT? What is like Rahanni?
yeah, of course.
Rahanni as well.
Yeah, of course. Our Rahanni is so beautiful. So, well, the different modalities that I've trained in, I'll speak about them and kind of explain them a little bit. So, integrated energy therapy was the first one that I trained in. That's and angelic healing. So, we're working with some of the archangels for that. Now, I say this to people. I get to ask this all the time, and energy work is energy work. It's all kind of the same. Um, it's all the same at the end of the day. It's just we use different, like we're channeling different, with angelic healing, we're connecting to the angelic realms. With Reiki, we're connecting to source energy and using our symbols. But the outcome is the same. Like it's all kind of the same, but it's different frequencies and stuff, I suppose. So the integrated energy therapy is a form of angelic healing. Then obviously with Reiki, we're literally just, and we're all, for any healing modality, we're just a channel. Like it's not actually us that are doing the work. It's the person, your client on the bed is actually doing all the work. We're literally just channeling that energy, whether it's from the angelic realms or from source energy. So we're literally just a vessel on the channel. So with Reiki, obviously, we're using our symbols. We're connected to that source energy to channel the energy through our chakra system. It comes out our hand chakras. Then with Magnified Healing, as you know, you trained with me. We're connected into the energy of the Kuan Yin with the Magnified Healing. Then with Rahanni Healing, again, that's an angelic healing. We work with the archangels and the 51 celestial pink angels for that. That's a beaut. I absolutely love Rahanni. It's so beautiful, and it's amazing when you're channeling different forms of energy work. They feel so different as well, and the client on the bed will feel a difference. It's really incredible. So yeah, I also trained in sound healing. And yeah, I kind of do a little bit of everything, but Reiki kind of is my go-to, and then Rahanni. I'm very, very drawn to the angelic healing as well. So I love Reiki. I teach Reiki, but I'm very, very drawn to the angelic healing. So yeah, Rahanni is just absolutely beautiful as well.
Yeah, and you could really feel it as well. The more we practice these modalities, like the more, like, say, psychic like you become, I feel like the more energy is gonna come in, and like the more powerful it is. So like it's like you said, it's all coming from source, and we use our hands then
Mhm.
to channel. We are act as channels, like, and the energy just flows through us. But it's just like you said, it's like different, like, tastes of, say,
Yeah.
energies, and it's amazing. Especially, I love when you talk about angels, because I love angels, and I just like, I can't stop smiling when you talk about, like, Archangel Michael.
I know, me too. When someone mentions the angels, I just smile, and it's like, oh, their energy is so beautiful to work with.
Yeah, and especially, like, for even children, when they're like afraid of something, and you can say to them, okay, just call in Archangel Michael, like, ask for protection, ask.
Yeah,
And like the amount of times he has helped me when I had like nightmares, I'm like, oh my God, Archangel
yeah,
Michael, next thing you know,
yeah,
I just like this,
yeah,
like a cloak, and like it's like a wiper, and next thing I'm fine, because I could be freaking out in the dream, and I could just be saying, oh my God, Jesus, I feel like so scared, and I know I'm asleep, and then once I call him in, it just stops, and I
yeah.
just
You
find,
can literally feel the shift in the energy as you call them in. And do you know what
yeah,
like, as you say there about children, like, angels are just a common conversation we have in the house here. Like, it's just totally normal to us. And you know, like my daughter, to my son, I've a son and two daughters. So my eldest daughter, she's very intuitive, and my twin boy is extremely intuitive. My little girl isn't shown too much, but that might come later. My other little girl twin, but my eldest daughter Ava, like, she'd come to me and she'd say, "Mommy, the angels told me to tell you," and she'll say, this type of stuff. And or anytime we're going anywhere, they're like, "Angels, can you help with?" And like, they know the different archangels, and it's just like, I didn't have that as a kid. Like,
yeah,
it's just a different generation now. Like, when I had my little one starting school in September, and we had the teachers meeting, and you know just to see how she's getting on. Like, she talks about angels in her class all the time. Like, she talks about angels with her friends, and that's just normal to her.
yeah,
Whereas the kids of my generation, like, we had imaginary friends,
yeah,
which, any child who says they have an imaginary friend, they're just speaking to spirit. Children are so much, they don't have, they're not closed off like a lot of adults are. They're just so open. So when they have that imaginary friend, they're talking to spirit or angels, or, but I think it's just a completely different generation now, isn't it, with the kids? It's so exciting to see,
yeah.
and we're able to encourage it because we understand it now, whereas our parents didn't, you know?
Oh yeah, 100% agree. It's like more people, more parents are kind of like way more open than before. And the kids that are coming in now, they're like these crystalline children. They're so connected, and there is no like, like, oh yeah, I can see that, and it's like becoming such a norm. It's beautiful to see. Whereas before, you're like, oh my God, that's just an
Yeah.
imaginary. It would have been just shut down like that, because it wasn't
Yeah.
normal. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I
and
suppose our parents didn't have the understanding, like, the
yeah,
frequency of the world is changing, as you know, like, we're shifting.
yeah,
Um, Things are opening up so much now for people, and like, it's not like it was, when we were kids, what, 30, 40 years ago. And it's so exciting to see. It's just a completely different new generation of little star seeds coming in, and they're just so much more open than I suppose we were as kids.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I remember, like growing up, you wouldn't really understand. You're like, oh God, like you feel this energy. You're like, okay, you couldn't just shut it down. And like yourself, I can very
Mhm.
relate. Like when I was growing up as well, while a teenager, and you just kind of like, you're just not in it. You just, because you want to fit in, you want to be with the gang, and you want to do the fun things. And then when it comes to then like the other half of your life, you're like, oh, this is interesting. I want to dip back into it. And I'm like, I think definitely since, well, I'm sure it was maybe 2012, maybe. Well, I don't know when was the year when you started IET. That was, yeah, mine was 2020 anyway. I was like kind of
2010, actually, I trained in IT.
that's mad.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And that was like
Yeah,
before it was a thing, I suppose.
hold on,
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah.
Was it? What's 15 years ago? Whatever that
15
was.
years ago.
That's when I trained. That's when I trained in IT 15 years ago. I'm
Yeah.
not great at maths.
But
Yeah,
you know,
2010, wasn't it? Yeah, 2010.
yeah, and like I completely love your Feng Shui course and how like because I've used it in my own house as well. Like, and I was like, okay, right, decluttering just makes it so much easier. Like, I actually can feel the
Yeah.
difference in my house when I know where everything is, when you organize stuff, when
Mhm.
you start crystals, when plants. So, like for people who don't know what Feng Shui is, could you talk about Feng Shui a little bit and maybe like what are the benefits, like what it is and which type? Because I know there's different types of Feng Shui. There is, yes. I want to hear that.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm so passionate about. Like I always say, I don't know why they're not teaching this in the schools. Like Feng Shui is around for over 5,000 years. You know, it was actually banned from the people weren't allowed to practice it. It was banned from the Chinese government for people. Like people had to train in secret, and they didn't want them having the power of it, I suppose. But I'm like, this should be taught in schools. Like it's so powerful. So there's different types of schools. Feng Shui. So I trained with Amanda Collins, she's Amanda Sophia now. She's the founder of the International Feng Shui School. So she does a holistic blend of the classical Feng Shui and the intentional Feng Shui. So her course is kind of a blend of both. So in classical Feng Shui, we use a compass to find out the direction that your home faces, and we look at like the year the home was built. We look at like the land it was built on. We look at the surrounding areas, and this all creates like an energy blueprint of your home. So basically, kind of like astrology. If you ever get like an astrology reading done and they ask for like your time of birth and stuff, it's kind of the same idea with your home. It's the day that the roof gets put on your home is like the day that we take our first breath, and that's what creates the energy blueprint of the home. And every home energy blueprint is different. So with the classical feng shui, that's kind of what we're looking at. Now the intentional feng shui, that's what like I teach on my courses. And it's so amazing. So in intentional feng shui, we have what's called a bagua map, which is a map of the home. Each home is divided into 9 areas, and each area of the whole each of the 9 areas represents something. So for instance, we have like in the southeast of your home is your wealth and prosperity area. In the south is your fame and recognition. In your southwest, you'll have your love and marriage. In the west, then you will have the children and creativity area. Also, that's the area for fertility and new beginnings. And then the middle part of your home then is your health and well-being. So each 9 areas of the home will stay the same, as in like every house, your wealth and prosperity would be in the southeast, but you need to find out the direction your house is facing to know where your areas are. So we just say to you to stand, you're just going to stand at your front door, and you can use the compass on your phone, and put it out to see what direction your home is facing, and then you'll know where those areas kind of sit in your house. Then in the east area, we have the family and community area. The northwest of your home then will be the helpful people and the travel area. The northeast, you have the knowledge, wisdom, intuition, and meditation area. And then the north of your home is the career and life journey. So with feng shui, we are looking at balancing the energies in feng shui. So it's kind of like it's similar to acupuncture. We call it acupuncture for the home. So with acupuncture, they use a needle to get into the meridian to move the chi. So they put the needle into the meridian that disperses the chi in the body to get it moving again. So it's kind of the same idea with your home. So everything is made up of energy, as you know. Your home, with the energy of your home will enter your front door and come in. And really it's about looking at your home. Firstly, as you talked about decluttering, that's obviously going to be your first step, because everything holds energy. So any clutter that we have in our home, that's going to hold old stagnant energy. So really that's the first thing we always recommend to people with feng shui is declutter, because you're going to feel the shift in energy. Like I say to my clients all the time, nobody has ever had a big massive clear out and not felt great. You always feel great. You say, oh my God, it feels so much better, because you can feel that energy shift as you're clearing out that clutter. So we use Feng Shui. We use the 5 elements in Feng Shui, and we look at bringing them into the home and balancing out all the energies of the home. And then you're looking at your 9 areas on your Bhagwan map, and you're using that as kind of like a vision board. So, say in your wealth and prosperity area, you're looking at that in detail. If you kind of, I do always say to people, look and see what you're kind of lacking in your home. If it's like you want to bring in a partner, or you want to your marriage isn't doing great, then look at the love and marriage area of your home and see what you can do. Like, we use what's called enhancements in Feng Shui, and that's going to activate the area, it's called. So it's just absolutely incredible. I from the very first minute I kind of looked into Feng Shui, I've just been hooked, and it's so powerful. So yeah, I teach a little course on it every year. Every year in Feng Shui, we come into a new year. The energies change in and around like the 10th of February. It was the 10th of February this year. So I kind of run the course at the start of the year. But it's just so interesting and so powerful. I'm doing a little video series on my Instagram at the minute, just giving up my Feng Shui tip of the day. So that's been really going really well. Just there's so much interest in it, you know.
Yeah, there is exactly so much interest. I love the tip of the day, because I'm like, right, like looking at my front door again, I'm like, where I know like it needs to be like, say, cleaned down, whatever, decluttered, and like say have like things to chew as well, so the energy is balanced. So like say there's no bins and stuff inside the house, like, so it's nicely
Yeah,
painted, cracks. And it's true, because when you look at something and something is, pretty, of course energy wants to flow this way. So it makes so much,
absolutely.
yeah. Or like
Yeah,
even like
and remember as well. Oh, sorry. Yeah, with Feng Shui, we look at your home as a reflection of you. So, like that, we don't like any broke items in Feng Shui, because they represent that broken energy, and like leaky taps. Anything that's leaking can signify like your money leaking away, and so everything is related back, related back to you, really. And like everybody, you don't have to be an energy worker, or you don't have to be intuitive to walk into a home and just feel that there's something, that the energy is off, because you're picking that up. The energy gets stored in the walls, it gets stored in the crevices of the walls. So like anyone can, everyone has gone kind of to view a house, if you're looking at renting or buying, and you go to so many different properties, and you can feel the difference of the energy when you walk in. Like, you walk in, you're like, oh no, I don't, there's something not right about this, but you're picking up on that energy. So that's what we're looking to change in Feng Shui, is changing that flow of energy in the home, balancing everything out, bringing everything into harmony, and then using your home as one big vision board. It's the biggest tool of manifestation, Feng Shui. So yeah, it's really
yeah,
incredible. And listen, you could go on about Feng Shui. There's so much to it. Like, if I was doing a tip of the day, I could do a tip of the day for 3 years every day. Like, there's so much. People don't realize how deep Feng Shui actually goes. Like, it's so
yeah.
deep, but so powerful. Yeah.
But like, say for example, I know like a lot of listeners be like, oh, what's the wealth and prosperity corner? Because everybody wants to feel abundant. So
Yeah,
like,
everyone is interested in the wealth and prosperity corner.
yeah,
So yeah, your wealth and prosperity corner. So this is going to be in the southeast area of your home. So again, you just need to find out which direction your home is facing, and then when you know which direction your home is facing, then you go to the southeast area, and that's going to be where your wealth and prosperity area is. And we do Feng Shui, it's not just on your ground floor, we do it on each floor. So if you have a second or third floor, you'd be looking at, like, so for instance, in someone's house on the ground floor, the southeast area might be in a bathroom. We don't look at remedying or activating bathrooms or utility rooms, or like under the stairs, those type of areas. So if, for instance, downstairs, your wealth and prosperity, which is a really big area, because you're not going to have every area. There's going to be some areas that's like in a bathroom, or, but the wealth and prosperity area is a big one. So you kind of want that in a good area. So if, for instance, downstairs it's in your toilet, you can activate it on the second floor. That might be in a bedroom or whatever. So the wealth and prosperity area is one of the most favored areas for good reason. So obviously it's related to money, and wealth and prosperity, your investments, how your money grows, all that type of stuff. So really, in this area, firstly, you want to go and have a look where it is. You want to make sure there's no clutter there. We also don't like fake plants and flowers and feng shui because they represent dead energy. So if you have anything like that in the area or anywhere in your home, or potpourri, anything like that, anything that's kind of fake, and because it does represent dead energy, we get rid of all that. People are horrified when I say that because loads of people have fake plants and fake flowers, but really they don't. It's the live plants and the live flowers that are giving off that beautiful chi. So you want to get rid of all the fake flowers and fake plants. So make sure there's no clutter in the area. Make sure there's nothing broken. If it's in the area, like my wealth and prosperity area is in my kitchen, so you want to make sure the stove is in working order, your taps are all working, everything is working correctly. And then you're going to look at what you can bring in to enhance it or activate that area, is what we say. So again, anything that represents wealth and abundance to you, you can bring in there. So fresh flowers, and plants are a really good way to enhance the area. There's two particular plants that we use in feng shui for this area because they represent wealth and prosperity, and that's the money tree and the jade plant. So you get them in any garden centre. They're really, and so easy to, I got my first money tree and jade plant when I first trained in feng shui, like about 9 years ago, and I still have them, and I can't keep plants alive. So they're really, they just need a tiny bit of water. There's no keeping in them. So they're gorgeous plants to have. Or a lucky bamboo is another one that we can use in that area. You can put your vision board there in this area, or a little vision board if you want to. Little things like, you can use a bowl of like overflowing with like the Chinese gold coins, bowl of fresh fruit. Fresh fruit represents wealth and abundance. So, but like, have a nice big bowl of fresh fruit, and watch if you are using a bowl of fresh fruit, just watch that none of the fruit is rotten, because obviously that's not giving off the best energy. So it has to be nice fresh fruit. And then a couple of crystals we can use in that area. Citrine is all around wealth and abundance. Amethyst is also a really good one to use in that area. You can get them in like either, like I have them in my citrine in my wealth and prosperity area in the candle, the big blocks of the candle holders, or you can get like the little the little crystal trees and stuff like that. So really anything that represents wealth and abundance to you. Another thing, in Chinese culture, they use like the dragon represents like that power and strength. So you could use like have a little dragon figurine or something. So anything, you're putting in anything that represents wealth and abundance to you in that area. So that's always a popular one, the wealth and prosperity.
Oh, that, like, the tips are beautiful. I'm like, oh yes, we're gonna love it, because my wealth and prosperity corner is like where my front door is when people come in. So I
Yeah,
go mad and like the shoes and stuff everywhere. I'm like, get the clutter away from here.
yeah,
It just kind of piles up because we take our shoes off when we go into the house, and I just
yeah.
want nice, yeah. And this is my next thing now. I just want to get like proper kind of shoe press for them. It's just they're just
Mm-hmm,
gonna
mm-hmm.
go on the floor. Oh, and I just lose it. Like, yeah, I like put the
Yeah,
bags on the floor. I'm like, no, the front house needs to be like lovely and clean. Like, I'll have like the two plants on either side, and make sure the lights.
yeah.
And when we
The
first
lights
moved
are
in,
working nice and well lit. Yeah. And
yeah,
again,
yeah,
in my old house, my last house here, when I actually started training feng shui, my wealth and prosperity area was at the front door. And again, like that, we would come in. I had like loads, like I had a big, massive pot of this big fake plant. I had another like fake flowers on the table. It was a dumping ground. We would just dump our computer bags, our shoes would come off and we're dumped there. And yeah, it's like, because people's front doors can be a bit of a dumping ground, but really you want to have nothing, because remember, the chi enters your front door. That's where it comes into your home. So you want to make sure that's as clear as possible, so that beautiful energy can come in and just disperse around the home. So don't have anything like that, or like, the your coats hanging on the staircase and all that type of stuff. Put things away. Don't let that energy come in freely. But when I done all the little clearing of my old house at the wealth and prosperity area, literally that's when, like, a couple of days later, my husband got the really unexpected bonus, and it was the shortfall for our next IVF. So really, it's incredible, like, how much you can change the energy of the home. So yeah,
love
just
it.
that's always a big one, the wealth and prosperity.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the first one. I was like, oh, I need to sort it, and then everything else kind of
Yeah,
follows.
yeah,
Just to see how your
yeah.
whole house this works. And you feel so much better as well, like, because you want to go into your house and you want to feel like, oh God, I am delighted I'm home. And because you want it to be your sanctuary. You don't want it to be like, oh God,
Absolutely.
yeah, and it's the last thing you just
Absolutely.
want.
If you're walking into your home and you don't get that, oh, I'm home, you know, the energy's off.
Yeah,
Like we
yeah,
spend so much time in our home, and you want your home to be a place where you come in like that, your little sanctuary. And by making these changes, that's the way it can feel. Because if you're walking into your home and you're just like, oh, the energy is off, you know, and like people don't realize how much stagnant energy can be held in clutter. You
yeah.
know, people just don't realize.
Yeah, so say for example, you're like, okay, I know that my house is just like there's a bit of stuck energy. Like, would you have any tips on how to like get rid of like say stagnant energy, some kind of bad energy? Is there some practice you would do? Like say yourself,
Yeah,
maybe.
well, yeah, well, with Feng Shui, and I do this myself. So with Feng Shui, obviously the first step is to declutter. Okay, so that's going to be your first step, and then we also suggest doing a space clearing, because remember, like you don't this house now. We built this house. This house is built, so we're the only owners of it, the only people who've lived here. But the people who've built the house, their energy is going to be in it, isn't it? So remember, like a house takes a long time to build, and you have builders coming in every day, and they're putting their energy into it. So even if it's a new home that nobody has lived in before, space clearing is a good idea. But especially if it's a house, because you don't know what's going on there. You don't, like, you know, if there's a lot of, you know, grief or death or arguments in a home, again, that literally gets stored in the walls of a home, and then you're going to move in then, and it's somebody else's all energy there. So really the first thing you're going to be doing is decluttering. The next one then is to do a space clearing. So with a space clearing, again, the steps for a space clearing, I go through all of this on my course, but it's just, you would just need to obviously be getting everybody out of the house when you're doing a space clearing, because remember, space clearing is about lifting up that stuck energy and transmuting it. So you would do it in a time where there's nobody there. You get, you know, obviously your kids or your pets out of the home. Try and do it in a time where it's not lashing rain, because we need to have the windows and stuff open. So really there's a whole ritual behind a space clearing. It's a whole, you know, they've been doing it for centuries, space clearing. But really the gist of it is you would have, you know, some type of sound, you would use some type of sound. So you would have like a bell or, you know, a sound bowl or something like that. And then you would have an item like either Palo Santo or sage. Sage is always kind of better for a space clearing. And you're literally just going around each room. Now there's a whole kind of sequence to it, but to explain it, just the gist of it is you're going around each room, firstly using your sound to kind of, so that if you think of it, the sound kind of lifts
Disperse.
it up out of the walls, if you get me. And then so you're lifting it with the sound, and you're going to keep going around with your sound till you'll hear that the whatever you're using, whether it's a bell, say you're using a bell, you'll start to hear the difference of the tone in the bell as the energy is clearing. Obviously with any type of ritual beforehand, you're going to protect your own energy. You're going to, you know, call in your spirit team or your guides. So you're going to set the intention of what it is that you want to achieve from the space clearing. Then you're going to physically do the space clearing. After you go around with the sound, then you go around with your sage, and the sage is kind of getting rid. So anything you're lifting, the sage then is clearing. And then obviously at the end of the ritual then, and a space clearing can take a while, so you need to give yourself a bit of time, but you would do a space clearing after you've decluttered. There's no point in space clearing when you have a load of clutter in the house. So you do your decluttering first, then you would do your space clearing. And you kind of do a space clearing I try to do one every year or two. In your home, like, you'll know when you need to, you know, because like that, and like, you know, anything that goes on in the house, as I said, sickness, arguments, anything like that kind of will hold that energy in the home. So I haven't done one now in about 2 years, mind you, but I'm definitely going to do one now. I'm definitely going to get to do one this year. But then obviously you would thank whoever you called in to help with the space clearing. Then it's really important then, because you're going to hold that energy on you. So go and have like a shower or an Epsom salt bath, or, you know, take the clothes off and get them in the wash. And yes, space clearance can be really, really effective. And then you'll be looking at your areas of your home and putting in your enhancements and all that kind of stuff. So there's little steps to it. But if you follow those steps, that's when you get the most out of Feng Shui. And that's when you can really, really change that energy of the home, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, just even like I've noticed as well, like if I just put like fresh plants after the clearing or something,
Yeah.
it just flowers and it just you can smell
Your
the flowers.
flowers, your artwork. Yeah, you can bring in lots of lovely different types of artwork. So again, we just say to people, like, go around and look at your home. Like, look, you know, if there's stuff in your home that one you don't love, if you don't love it, you don't need it. Okay, we just say, like, when people are like, I don't know where to start with decluttering, only keep something if you love it. Don't keep it just because you might need it someday, or because, you know, you got it off X, Y, and Z. And if you don't love it, if it's not bringing you joy, get rid of it. Either give it to charity, someone else might love it and it might bring them so much joy, or else, you know, skip it. I always say, kind of give it. It's nice to give it to charity because you mightn't love somebody, but somebody else might love it.
Yeah.
But again, if you're bringing in anything from your home, speaking of charity, if you are bringing anything, other possessions of other people into your home, make sure you give that a good clearing as well, because again, that's going to hold the energy. But yeah, so just kind of doing and following those steps really
Yeah.
is,
I
yeah,
find,
it's just
yeah.
so powerful.
Yeah, I find when I do say like a clearing or even like declutter, I have to go
Yeah,
up again the second time because like I know there's something that I didn't get rid of the first time because I'm like, oh, I might just hold on to
yeah,
it. And then a week later, I'm like,
yes,
I should have just like got rid of it the first time, but I hold on to it
yeah,
all
yeah,
for somebody that you're like, I'm not going to use that. But when you give to
yeah.
charity, like know that like somebody else will be delighted to have it, you know? So
Absolutely. And you know what? It's hard to part with our stuff. We do get an emotional connection to things, and it is hard. Like, decluttering isn't easy. You know, it is hard. And again, you'd be looking at, you know, I just say to people, as your home is a vision board, look at what's in your home. Like, look at your artwork. Look at, you know, like you just see all these now. It's more common, I suppose, in American homes, but you know, people, and they have like the machetes up on the wall, or like, you know,
or
like
like
be
dead
mindful
animals.
of what.
Yeah.
Yeah, or dead animals and stuff. So be mindful of what your artwork is like. Or, you know, you do often see like these beautiful paintings to look at, but it's like a ship in really like rocky waters and stuff. You know, think of what type of energy that's given off. So be mindful of your artwork. Go and look at your artwork and see, you know, little things. Because remember, this is all like a vision board. That goes into your subconscious mind, you know, and like you're looking at that every day. So little
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
like that, just, you know, it's until you really think about it, and you're like, oh my God, yeah. You know, and
Yeah.
if there's something you have hanging up on your wall that you don't love, or you don't, just get rid of it, you know,
Yeah.
because the more stuff you have, the more stuff in your home you're surrounded by that you love and that brings you joy, the better you're going to feel in your home.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm on a
Yeah.
mission now as well to find like a painting, but of like a geometrical kind of a shape, something that
Yes, beautiful.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
waiting to see something might pop up in my field. But I'm like, I'd love to just get one because I know it'll bring something beautiful that you're like, right, it's gonna like enhance
Yeah.
this energy of the home. And so like
Absolutely.
yeah. And I know you mentioned that this year is the year of the dragon, and especially now we're talking about the
Yes.
corner, and then you're like, okay, like a dragon is a symbol of wealth and prosperity. And it's funny as well that in numerology, the year of the dragon is like year 8, which is all about like finances, abundance, and power. So it just kind of synchronizes everything. So I'm like, I find it so fascinating. But
Yeah.
how yeah, like so a year of the dragon. So how would you, I suppose, describe the
Mm.
year 2024, and what can we do to maneuver this energy? Like, is there any tips that we should be aware of, or is there anything that you would
Mm.
recommend to
It's
do?
actually a really exciting year. So you say in numerology, the year of the dragon symbolizes the number 8, whereas actually we've shifted into period 9 in Feng Shui. So in Feng Shui, we have 9 periods, and each period is 20. It lasts for 20 years, and each period um, represents something. So we've come from period 8, and now we're coming into period 9. It's more of a divine feminine energies in period 9. So you're going to see a lot more. This will go on for 20 years. So you're going to see a lot more women stepping into their power. We're going to probably see a lot more women coming into leadership, you know, women just setting up their businesses. The energies are going to really support that. So basically, I'll talk a bit about the year of the dragon first. So the year of the dragon kicked off in on the 10th of February. So each year with Feng Shui, so we have there's 12 zodiac animals in Feng Shui, and then obviously the 5 elements. So each year is going to represent one of the 12 animals and one of the elements. So this year we've just moved into the wood dragon. Last year we were the water rabbit. quite tranquil energies of the water rabbit. So now we're coming into the wood dragon. So again, what the wood dragon represents is that really bold, forceful kind of energy. It's all about leadership, action, stepping into your power, all of that type of stuff. It's the 20-year period. Then we're going to see a lot of change, a lot of growth. It's going to bring loads of new opportunities to people, loads of new technologies. Social media is going to become much bigger, lots more spiritual awakenings. It's huge time for collaborations. As I said, women stepping into their power. It's really going to be a massive change. We're all really going to feel it. Like even myself, I've had so many people reach out to me for collaborations and stuff more in the last couple of weeks than I did for the whole of last year. So already we're kind of seeing these, the energies changing already. Like it's so fascinating, So, so in 2024, the wood dragon, again, it's kind of all about, fresh beginnings, new opportunities, new ventures. So I just say to people, if there's ever a year, if you have ever been thinking about, stepping out of your comfort zone and setting up that business that you always wanted to do, or, now is the year to do it. The energies are going to support you. So, and we're going to see a lot of that. I see it with my clients, kind of started to see it happening from last year, but really this year, like people are just not willing to stay in jobs that they're not happy in anymore. And if there's something like, oh, I always wanted to X, Y, or Z, then this really is the year to do it. And you're going to just see more and more and more about it, or more and more happening, So really, as it's a big time for collaborations and stuff. So it's about, making good connections with, your co-workers or your, other people in similar businesses to you and stuff like that. Embracing all these amazing new opportunities that are coming. There will be a few challenges like we have in every year, but really, this energy, the dragon energy, it's all, strength and power and vitality and just huge amount of new beginnings and new opportunities, really. So it's actually really exciting to see how it's going to unfold.
Yeah, like you were like talking about, and my spine is just like going on fire. I'm like, yes, 100%, because I can feel the energy as well, and it's just so beautiful as well collaborating with somebody, especially like say if you're in line of work and like you the two of you say you could have different energy, but you bring whatever you need to that circle or the people that are coming to see it.
Absolutely.
We have different frequencies, different energies, and it's just beautiful. I could I can see more and more people just say, some people doing Reiki, some people doing reading, some people doing yoga, and just making this retreat happen, making these circles happen. It's just so exciting. Yeah,
I know, it's amazing to see, and we're seeing it already. So yeah, expect a lot of that now this year. So yeah, it's just really, really exciting to see.
yeah, lovely. Oh, I love it. So thank you for that. So this is what we need to, so that's the collaborations. So stepping into our power, reaching out, I suppose, those who kind of, if you need help or any tips, just keep asking first, because there's so much help out there.
Absolutely.
Either.
I think people who come together, especially women who come together, can really create magic, can't they? So as you say, it's about bringing those energies together, because there's something that I might be able to offer that you could offer, and when you bring the two energies together, then look, at the end of the day, it's all about creating something really special for people and helping people, isn't it? So if you can do that, reach out to people if you are, especially in this time. I'd never like to call it an industry or a community or whatever word you want to put in it, but especially in the kind of spiritual industry or community, reach out to other people and see if you can work together and things. It's about kind of creating magic for people, really, isn't it? So we will see a lot of that now this year.
Yeah, and so it actually brings me to kind of a few last kind of couple of questions that I want to ask you. So like you said, there's going to be so many people that may want to be like, okay, I want to start a spiritual business, but I don't know what to even do. So would you have like a tip or two for somebody who's maybe even thinking about kind of going this route, or because it is quite hard at the start. It is so overwhelming. So
Yeah. And look, come here. It took me 3 years to kind of finally step into my power. So I'm not, I get it. But what I will say is take the chance. If you're in a job that isn't bringing you pure joy, and when we talk about, when we talk about our soul's purpose it doesn't have to be this type of work. Your soul's purpose can be anything. So, but your soul's purpose is what you have agreed before. We all make these agreements before we come down to have this human experience. We all make these decisions of what our soul's purpose is, what lessons we want to learn, what we're here to do. And when you are doing something that's not your soul's purpose, you're not going to be happy. And the universe is always going to try to give you that nudge to push you in the direction of doing what you're supposed to be doing. And when you do finally do that, that's when you are full of passion, you're full of joy, and it's not a job. You hear people saying that all the time. To me, this is not a job. That's when you know you're doing your soul's purpose. So it doesn't have to be, going out doing Reiki. That's just what, that's my soul's purpose, is doing this type of work. But your soul's purpose can be anything. So I would just say, take the chance. Don't stay in a job that you're unhappy in. And especially a lot of office jobs and stuff can be very, very toxic. And now look, if you're in an office job that you absolutely love, then that's great. But if there's something that you're like, oh, I always wanted to do this, just take the chance and do it. The universe is always going to support you when you're doing what you came here to do. I promise you that. So like that, when I was, it took me 3 years to finally leave my full-time job. And when I did make that decision and I left, everything just exploded for me. Everything exploded for me, because the universe is like, right, she's nearly ready. And then when I left and I said, right, this is what I'm going to do, everything opened up, and I promise that's going to happen. So the universe will always fully support you. So, obviously, look, we've bills to pay, we've mortgages to pay, we've children, and, I get all that, but the universe will support you when you're doing what you're supposed to do. So take the chance, Life is short. So that's my advice. Just if you want to get in, especially to this line of work, just do it. Just take the chance and do it. Like, obviously, I had a client base built up in the background before I stepped fully into it. So, maybe kind of do a bit of that in the background, kind of build up things or have an idea of what you want to do, but just take the chance,
Yeah, definitely. Kind of like build it up a small bit, see if it's for you, see where you are,
Yeah.
see, like what way you want it. And beautiful advice, because it is kind of scary at the start. You're like, oh, what should I do? But it's all about kind of going back to the heart and see, okay, what kind of makes me happy, and I want to do this for the rest of my life? Will this make me kind of happy? And like, I think everybody wants to have that like kind of feeling of fulfillment and that like kind of purpose. And like, once you kind of have that, like that's your like golden nugget. Like you said, you kept like following your path, and you're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready now. Yeah. So so like it does take like a while. Like, sometimes you're like, you don't have to kind of drop everything at the drop of a hat and you're like, okay, I'm ready. But it could take, say, like, 3, 5, 6 years until you're like, okay, I'm ready to let go and just step into my power. And so my other question was, so because you are, like, say, quite busy, and like, and you have 3 kids, and like you have retreats coming up, and you do a women's circles, and you do all circles, and there's so much going on. So like, how do you stay like on top of it all? Like, do you have any like productivity like, is there like a that you do that you can...
What? I actually don't know, to be honest with you. Like, when I look at what I do, but can I just go back to just one other thing I want to say, because it's really important, and just so I don't forget, when you're talking about like giving advice for, especially people in this line of work, or because I'll forget it if I don't say it. My big advice as well is always do this work from a place of heart. If you want to get into this line of work and you think you're doing it from the money, or then you shouldn't be doing it. Please, 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 when you do this work, do it from a place of from your heart. We're here to help people in this line of work. We're here to heal people. That's what's important. We're not here to make money. Obviously, we need to make money to live, and the universe is going to support us. They're going to give us the clients, but if you know, if you're getting into this line of work, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. There's so many people out there now doing this type of work, you know, and I don't feel everybody is, you know, coming from a place of heart. So really just be mindful of that. We're here to help people. We're here to help raise the frequency of the planet. We're here as part of this ascension process. That's why we're here. That's why we agreed to come here at this time. So really, you know, keep that in mind as well. That's what the bottom line should be, you know. So I always try and make things affordable for people, you know. Often it's people that have less money that need our services the most, so I'm always mindful of that. So yeah, I just wanted to say that in case I forgot, but just make sure you're always you know, coming from a place of heart and your intentions are right, you know. But how I can
always check in for your
you know,
check in with yourself, and
yeah, absolutely. Because you see, so many people are offering all these things now, and you know, yeah, there's a lot of that going on at the minute. But just once you're doing it, once you know you're doing it for the right reasons, and once you know you're in it to help as many people as you can, then that's all that matters. But how I do it all, I have no idea. I keep saying I need to get an assistant, but you know what? You just get up and you get on with it, don't you? I honestly, Christine, and you know, I say this all the time. When you love what you do, it's not work. Yes, I'm rushed off my feet all the time. Yes, I never have a minute, but this work brings me so much joy. And you know, to be able to step away from my 9 to 5, and like I drop my kids to school in the morning, or else my husband does and I get them ready. I pick them up from school, they go to after school Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because they're my kind of big admin days. But like I'm at the school gates on a Tuesday and a Thursday. I couldn't do that before when I was in my 9 to 5. You know, when they're off on their school holidays, you know, I'm here with them, they're with me. We couldn't do that before. So, you know, just trying to balance everything can be difficult. Like my 3 kids, so many young kids, like my little fella, Jake, my boy twin, he's like so intuitive and so connected. So his sleep is horrendous. We probably living off 3 or 4 hours sleep on average every night. And when I look at all that I'm doing, I'm like, how do I manage? But honestly, to me, it's not work. Like I get so much out of this work. Like I could go and do 3 or 4 clients, Reiki clients, I come back feeling great, because obviously when you're doing Reiki, you're getting that Reiki yourself. Or if I'm running a wellness retreat, I'm getting all that myself. Like I come back from running a wellness retreat and I'm like, my frequency, I'm like, my vibration is really high. I'm like, you know, it to me, yes, to look at, if you look at what I'm doing, you're like, oh my God, how is that girl, like she's doing so much. But to me, really, it's not work when it brings you so much joy and you get so much out of it. But I never have a minute. I never go out anymore. I never, like, if you text me and you don't hear from me for a few hours, it's just because I'm up to my eyes. But look, I always work better under pressure and better when I've loads to do. Like like I'm not one of these people that, like, if I don't have something to do, I kind of, whereas when I've loads to do, kind of keeps me ticking over. But yeah.
So it's basically joy. If you are passionate about something, you're like, okay, go. That's what it really happens, because that is the drive. That is the force behind what you do. It makes you so like happy, and you know, it's a hard-led business. So yeah, so you're basically it's like you're working with source energy. So that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if you know, like if people are listening to this, they're probably like, okay, what is Reiki? Like you know, even like just to put your own hands on, like on you, and to give yourself that quiet, that love, like just really connecting back and sending yourself that love. And and then once you come from that kind of a calm place, a calm mind, you'll have that clarity as to maybe what you want to do, or like what next step. And so I wanted to ask, I suppose you have so many things going up as well. You have workshops and retreats, and how can people find you? That's the most important part.
Well, well, I have my website is up and running now. That's mariposaholisticwellness.ie. So I have everything up on there, but also my Instagram. I do post to Facebook, but I kind of mostly on Instagram. Again, that's just Mariposa Holistic Wellness, or if you put in Ciara Ashwell, it'll come up. So I kind of post everything on there. I'm quite active on my social media. So yeah, like, oh God, I do a lot of online stuff as well, because a lot of my followers and stuff wouldn't be from Dublin. So I do like a monthly online angel workshop. I have my first one tonight, actually. We're all things Archangel Michael tonight. It is tonight, yeah, 6th of March.
I have to book into that, because I was like, I need to book in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that now. I love like that. I could talk about the angels all day. So I do the monthly angel workshop. I do a monthly online new moon healing circle. Then my full moon healing circle is in person in the cabin in Baldonnel. I have my Feng Shui course that I run. I run that live at the start of every year for the upcoming year. But then I'm going to record that course now. Going to do that next week. I'm going to record that course, so you'll be able to just buy that as a standalone course off my website. That's the Feng Shui course, and I also do a manifestation course as well that I run online. And again, I'm going to record that, so you'll be able to buy that as a standalone course. And then obviously I run my Reiki courses. I have my Reiki 2 course this weekend. So each month I'll run like a Reiki 1, 2 or 3, level 1, 2 or 3 course. And then I do lots of lovely wellness retreats. So I do a one-nighter retreat in Paris Court Springs every couple of months. I have a 2-night retreat coming up in May and September in the Deerstone in Wicklow. And then my abroad retreats then are kind of the 4 nights, 5 days. So that's the really kind of deep healing retreats. So I have one coming up in Spain now in April and one in October. So yeah, that's kind of what I do. I update everything is kind of on my website or through my Instagram. But and then obviously my one-to-ones healings I do in the evening times in the cabin. I also do online intuitive healings for those who can't make it to Dublin. I do them on a Wednesday night online. So yeah, busy bee, but
Yeah, I was like, okay. I was like, oh, this is like the online circles and then a cabin, and then you kept talking. I was like, oh my God, wow.
yeah,
I love it. Yeah. So, but like I've attended your online healing circles. Oh, they're beautiful. I remember like there was like you were doing cards and stuff at the end. And actually, funny story. I don't know if I told you. You pulled me a card because I was like, yeah, I want a card. And so I knew something was going to happen that weekend because I was going out with my partner, you know. And we're gonna have like I knew something was gonna happen, right? And then you're like, oh, I see like let's angels, right? Like they're supporting this, and I was like, oh, I know what this is. And then you're like, oh yeah, a relationship, like some kind of a tying the knot kind of rings. And I was like, oh yeah, and that weekend we got engaged.
Oh God, I let it out of the bag.
I knew it.
Oh,
I
look
knew
at me spilling the beans.
It's so funny, and I was laughing because I knew it was coming. And I was like, all right, and you were like, oh yeah, because you were like, I'm sure you were like, will I say, will I not? And you were like, tying the knot, or like the 2 rings together.
Well, congratulations. And you know, people ask me all the time, you know, do I do card readings and stuff? I don't do it as a service. I know a lot of incredible card readers. I do, I mean, I have about 25 decks of cards. I got my first deck of cards in 2009, Adoring Virtue Angel cards. Archangel Michael cards, but I do I do a mini card reading at the end of like my healing sessions, and then any of my online stuff, we pick a few cards, and obviously I do card readings for myself all the time, but I don't offer it as a service just because it's so time consuming. But I do know lots of incredible card readers. I always give out their information if someone's looking. And then obviously Feng Shui, I do talk about Feng Shui a lot, and I do the courses and all, but I don't actually do consultations for Feng Shui, because again, if you're a Feng Shui consultant, that's your job and you don't do anything else because it's so, you know, time
full on.
consuming. So I don't do that as a service, but I do run the courses and stuff. And so, yeah, I'd love to do it all, but I just don't have the time.
If you get that consult or that VA or that like person who does the admin, maybe.
Yeah, that's next. If anyone's listening and they're a virtual PA, give me a shout.
Oh, that's
I keep saying I need to, but you know what? I'm such a devil. I'm such a control freak, proper like Virgo. I have to and I'm such a perfectionist. I give out all the time about all my admin, but like, I don't think I could let anyone else do it. Like, I'm real, I like to do that all myself. So yeah. It's not for the want of people offering their services or the help. It's just, I'm a bit of a perfectionist in that way, but
yeah, well, you never know. You never know. You might just be like, okay, I'll trust, but down the line, you might be like, you know what, you could do it, but it is at the start. You're like, oh, that's my baby, because it is your baby. So.
It is, yeah. And I'm training in breath work as well now with Breathe with Nile. That's starting next week. I can't wait for that. So I'm going to be able to incorporate some lovely breathwork sessions on my retreats and stuff. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, lots going on.
Yeah, like I'll leave all the links and stuff, like your website, your Instagram links and all that in the show notes, so people can find you at ease. Yeah, so it's been beautiful connecting with you. You're just a ball of energy, and just you light me up. I'm like, okay, now I just want to do like I connect with angels anyway, but I'm like, oh, maybe I should do like course, because
come here. Do you know what? I'm actually now. I'm not going to do it till next year because it's a really intensive course. But I'm going to train. I'm going to do the mastership in angelic healing next year. I really feel kind of drawn to that, so I'm going to do that next year. It's so beautiful. But yeah.
So you can like teach others to do like level 1 or level 2.
Yeah, well, it's a different type. It's just a different type of angelic healing. So, like that, the Rahanni. I'm going to probably teach Rahanni now later on in the year. Loads of people have been asking me about teaching Rahanni. That's such a beautiful healing modality. So I'll probably start teaching that later on in the year. And then I'll do my training in the angelic mastership program. It's just another different form of angel healing. Because with angel healing, you're using different archangels and stuff, and you're being attuned to their energy, and it's just amazing. So loads to look forward to.
Definitely, 100%. And I'll see you tonight at the Angel Online Workshop.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. We'll talk about Archangel Michael tonight. So
love it.
So
thanks so much, Ciara. Like, thank you again for your energy and
for having me
and wisdom. You've just been like beautiful to talk to and connect to, and we'll talk to you soon. So, and like I said, we leave all the links and stuff in the show notes.
Lovely stuff. Well, listen, it was such a pleasure. Who would have known when we done our Magnified Healing training together that a couple of years later we'd be chatting on a podcast?
I know, right? Like, it's crazy. I actually don't think anything is crazy anymore. I'm just like, wow.
No, I'm not. Yeah. It's just crazy is our normal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, go on. So I'll chat to you soon. So, Ciara.
Yeah, lovely. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for allowing me to be your guide on this cosmic and entrepreneurial journey. I hope this episode inspired you in some way and would love to hear your thoughts. So send me a message on my Instagram at christinemar.co, and don't forget to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share this episode with a friend. Until next time.